There we go. The question was, what champion would you suggest playing when being new into ADC? Varus. Every time. Varus is the ADC that has... It's not very amazing, like not the most like strongest, but it's the one that has the most amount of ADC fundamentals and mechanics that you will learn for every single champion. He has no escape, so he has good positioning fundamentals. He has range fundamentals. He has attack speed fundamentals. He has skill shot fundamentals. All in with the old CC. He has trading pattern fundamentals. It's a really complete ADC in my opinion. If you know how to play Varus, you know every ADC. That's my opinion. If you're new to ADC, I pick a mechanical simple one. He's also mechanical simple. I wouldn't pick Jinx if you're new into ADC. That's kind of too much in my opinion. What do you think would be best to main? That depends a lot on your elo. Depends a lot on the current patch. I always say you shouldn't just pick a champion and main it forever. It's just, if you look at my match history and champions, I constantly changed ADC based on whatever's meta and strong in that particular moment. So other people are saying Severe now. They are correct. Severe is the best ADC right now, but that doesn't mean that next patch she will be the one that I will recommend, right? So if you ask me this question a couple months ago, I would have said, I don't know, Jinx when she was pick and ban every game. And if you ask me even before that, I would have said Misfortune in the preseason and before the preseason. So it changes constantly. And it also depends on your elo. So if you are below Master, I would say never touch Aphelios, never touch Seri, never touch Jean Ezreal, because those champions are just only good after a certain threshold. And then you have the opposite, right? You have certain ADCs like Tristana or Misfortune that are like very good in lower elos especially. The best main to get out of low elo. Probably right now I would just spam Seaver, just the best in every elo, right? She's broken right now. And then somebody said about Vayne something. So okay, we are almost about to start. I'm gonna give 2 more minutes for people to join, but I wanna say something here because this is a question that I get fairly often, and I wanna just get it out of the way as soon as we can. So this question is, if I have a bad duo laner, what do? And I cannot stress how many times I get this question in different ways. People ask me, how do you win with bad teammates? How do you win with a bad duo? The thing is, I cannot coach your teammate. I cannot coach your duo. I can only coach you. And the people that focus too much, hyper focus on teammates' performance, that's not how you will climb, okay? And how you do well, if you ask me like for a real answer, what I would do in your situation is just farm the lane and play for the second part of the game. Basically, whenever you have a support that is really, really bad, you just don't play the lane itself, you just farm, and then once the lane finishes, that's when you actually begin being a real ADC and playing, when you don't depend on your support anymore, because the earlier into the game, the more you depend on support. And I don't think you should hyper focus. I don't think the question is very... My issue with the question is it has a real answer, but I doubt that how to say it? I doubt that the inspiration behind the question is healthy to have as a mindset. Okay, that's why I hesitate to answer this question a lot, because I don't think you should hyper focus on how your teammates are performing. The real question is, yeah, communication with pings, and the real answer, sorry, communication with pings, and also just not even playing the lane, just farming or whatever. But as a rule of thumb, I will not be getting into that too much. So now that almost everyone is here, so this, okay, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Let me know if this is too much quality for you guys, because somebody told me once, I think it was Turbo, they told me that 720p is what I should do because of some people having bad internet, but I think if I go 1080 but 30 FPS, because it's a presentation that is static, you shouldn't have a lot of issues. And I want you to be able to read the letters, that's the issue. So let me know if everything is good, if you can see. What do you think about weird ADC picks like Veigar, Seraphine's? That's not a weird pick, right? Seraphine's best role is ADC. And Veigar is a normal pick when you have all AD in the rest of the map. Swain is only good in low elo. Swain is a low elo pick. He's really, really bad in high elo. One of the worst win rates in the game in Halo, actually. I think he has like 40, 47 or something, but 51 or 52 in low elo. Okay. I'm gonna begin with the topics, and you can just tell me the questions, but I will reply as we go over the topics, okay? So, if everyone is here, the first thing I wanna give you guys is a brief of what we're gonna be seeing today, and me as a player as well. So, basically, this is gonna be botlane fundamentals, basically in the laning phase, right? So everything related to the early up until the mid game, maybe up until the second drake or so, 15 minutes, whatever. Because that's the point in this current meta. That's the point with ADC. You are gonna go mid lane after 15, after second drake or so. Okay. The reason you're gonna go mid lane is because ADC right now doesn't need as many selfish resources as in the past. So the reason they go mid lane is because it's the shortest lane, so it's the safest to be alone. Because right now the support roams all around the map. In the past, you could side lane and the support would have your back, and you could get resources in the side lane. Right now, support roams perma. So if you don't have anyone to have your back, you shouldn't go side lane with ADC anymore after 15 or so, because towers are gone and it's the longest lanes. So top and bot lane are way longer than mid lane. Therefore, you have to travel a further distance to get to safety. That's why ADC doesn't go side lane anymore. Exceptions being if you actually have a support that will sit on you in the side lane, but your team will suffer. So it's a catch-20. So right now ADC mid lane after 15, after second drake, okay? So let me give you a brief introduction of me as a player. So I am Challenger or GM depending on the season since 2014, since season 4. That's the first season I got Challenger. For those who don't know me, I'm the Lucian #1 in the world in League of Rafts since I think March. I also got Vayne #1 in the world in 2020, and I have around, so here I typed 15,000, but I made the math the other day, and I think it's closer to 30,000 actually. So I play since 2011, since pre-season of season 2, end of season 1, and I regularly play with 1000 LP plus players almost weekly. Some pro players, some 1000 LP players. So I get a good, I have like a good grasp of the meta. I also played some competitive in the past. So I have a ton of experience in all of the ADCs, not just one. I'm not a Lucian OTP, just in case. So this was my OBGG this season, so 850 LP, 62% win rate, and I was doing very well with every ADC. Okay, so, and this is the rank 1 in the world Lucian thing before I changed my name. Okay. So with that out of the way, even though this is supposedly an ADC bootcamp, supports will also learn a lot from it, okay? So this is why botlane is a 2v2, it's not a 1v1, right? In fact, the support performance will affect the ADC performance a lot, and that's why we have questions such as our friend here who asked, what do you do with a bad support? Why does he ask that? Because support matters a lot as well, right? So there's a catch here. So you shouldn't care if you're an ADC, right? Most people here, I imagine, are ADCs. If you're an ADC, you shouldn't just care about what your role's job is, okay? You should also care about what your lane partners' needs are for their role as well. So a lot of people that complain about their support are not making their support's life easier. That's the huge issue here. A lot of people that complain about their Blitzcrank or Pike not hitting a hook don't realize that they are not manipulating the wave and the state of the lane in such a way that will allow their Pike to hit the hook in the first place. Okay? So this is why I always say, if you want to become a better ADC, play a couple games of support. If you want to get better at support, play a couple games of ADC, because now you will understand what the other one needs to succeed. If you play a couple games of Pike or any hook champion, next time you play ADC with them, you will know what kind of wave state they prefer, for example, okay? So what I want to talk about now is what a lot of people don't understand about the role of the ADC and the support, first of all, in the laning phase. And this is going to be what I call basically every role has an input and an output, right? So you will get something and you will transform it into something else. So I will explain what this means. Where is my pen tool? Here it is. So the role of the ADC is going to be getting income and resources funneled into you and transforming into damage and pressure, and the XXX here is because depending on the game it can also be in wave manipulation or whatever, but in general you're gonna get resources funneled into you, you're gonna output damage and pressure. So your job as an ADC is that you make sure that the resources you are getting are less, so the output is worth it, right? That you're not getting more input than the output. For example, you don't want to be the ADC that takes all of the resources and doesn't output enough damage or pressure. Likewise, you don't want to be the ADC that gets like not a lot of resources but also doesn't do a lot. So ideally you want to maximize the amount of pressure and damage that you do, taking into account the resources. So for example, right, if you're weak side, if your jungle is constantly ganking top and you're a Jhin or Ezreal, you're gonna have to be happy with outputting less damage but at the same time doing a lot of utility for your team. So with Jhin you're gonna set up, for example, for fights. So when I play Jhin in Challenger, I don't get a lot of kills because what I do is like I just let my jungler gank the top and then I just W on all the team fights to set up for them. Okay, so that's valid. Why is that valid? Because I'm not getting a lot of inputs. This is what you gotta understand. Okay, so you gotta maximize the damage and pressure. This is why dying with ADC feels so bad, because every time you die, you're gonna do no damage, no pressure, and you're gonna get no income as well. Okay. And for the support players out here, you are stealing XP from your teammate. Remember that. Every support player is stealing XP from the ADC. So you gotta make sure that what you give the ADC is worth it in terms of how much experience you're stealing from him. Okay, so basically, you gotta make sure that you're not just stealing his experience and giving nothing in return. Because a lot of players will do this. They will pick like Pyke or Leona or Sona or whatever, and they will still get all the XP. But the ADC would have been in the exact same situation if he was alone. So you're not giving anything in return. You're like in a bush or you're like behind him or whatever. So in that case, you're just taking the XP for nothing. In that case, it's better that you roam or whatever, because if you're gonna take the XP, it better be worth it for something, okay? This is the input-output equation. Again, what you're giving your ADC has to be more than what he's losing from you being there, okay? So with this out of the way, so any questions so far? This is just how to simplify it and like basically the role. And as a support, you're not only a support of the ADC, but this is laning phase bootcamp, so we're not going to focus on like the other part of support. So I want to go into some important concepts here about the laning phase. And the first one is going to be the level spikes. So another thing I forgot to mention about me, for those of you who don't know me, I have coached around 400 sessions, individual sessions, this year alone. So I see a lot from all Lilos, right? So I see a lot of players and their mistakes, and I know what are the most common ones. In Botlane, the number one most common mistake I see ADCs and supports do below, I would say below Diamond 2 maybe, is that they don't play for power spikes in levels, right? So the first thing you're going to do from now on that's going to improve your gameplay a lot is playing for the level 2, 3, etc. So the way this is going to work is the following. You're going to always take into account both the ally minion wave and the enemy minion wave, right? And now it's going to be the time where I pull up the map. So let me pull up the map, right? This is not the best quality map, but I cannot find a better one. So as you can see here, I'm gonna make like each dot will represent a minion, right? So if we have the 6 minions, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we have the blue minions, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, whatever. Okay, so this is 6 versus 6, normal wave. So the best ADCs in the game don't look at if you're blue, so we're gonna say you're blue. You're not gonna look at just the enemy wave and how much minions you need to kill to get level 2, right? And you're not gonna look at your XP bar. This is really bad. So from now on, we are not gonna look at the XP bar to measure level 2 and 3. What we're gonna look at is the enemy minions HP and how many they have left. And same for our wave. So from now on, what you gotta do is you gotta take into account both the enemy and ally minions at the same time so that you know who gets level 2 first. So who here can tell me how many minions do you need for level 2 and for level 3? Yeah, level 2, 9, and level 3. Yeah. Yeah, and for level 3 is the 3 casters after the cannon wave. Right? So it doesn't matter the amount of minions, like we are not gonna count them, because if you just check the CS, what happens if you missed one, right? You lose track. So for the level 3, it is really easy. You just look at the cannon wave and then you go like, what's the last wave, the cannon wave? If so, the next 3 minions are gonna get me level 3. So why is this so important? Because now you know exactly at what exact minion the enemy bot lane is gonna get level 2 and 3. Because this matters a lot. So rule number 1. There's not a single matchup in bot lane that you don't want to get level 2 first. That's not a thing, okay? Why? Because even matchups that you don't want to engage, you still want to get level 2 to not get engaged, okay? There's not a single matchup in bot lane that you go like, oh, I prefer to not get level 2 first. That's not a thing. There are some matchups in which you have no choice. But you always, if it was up to you, you always want to get level 2 first, okay? Always. Same for level 3. The same goes for the other spikes, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the rule here is that a bot lane that is level 2 will always beat a bot lane that is level 1 regardless of the matchup, okay? If you fight a 2v2 one level ahead up until level 6, you're always gonna win. Okay, always, regardless of matchup. There's no bot lane that will beat a level 2 bot lane while being level 1 in the whole trade. So think about one. Critic damage for getting level 2 first. So let's go into that 1 second. So let's get that out of the way, right? Even if the enemy bot lane is like Draven, I don't know, like Draven Noodles, Draven Leona, and your bot lane is like really weak early, you have like Soraka Vayne. Soraka Vayne will beat Draven Nautilus if you're level 2, okay? It will. Level 2 will beat any matchup. That's the first thing. But the thing is, probably during the fight itself, they will get level 2 and kill you. So that's why with Soraka Vayne, for example, you will get level 2 just to not get engaged, but you're not gonna engage. But it's still really good to not get engaged. So should I take damage for getting level 2 first? Usually yes, but it depends a lot on whether that damage, like, if you get in level 2 first means you can walk away and not die, then yes. But if you get it first and then they get it 3 seconds after you, they're still gonna engage on you because you took damage. That's the thing, right? So the way you should look at this, right? It's like a race. Imagine that you have like, these are the 2 timelines, blue team and red team. And your job is getting level 2 before they get it. Let's say they get it here, a couple seconds after. So if this happens very close to each other like this, a couple seconds away, this is still a good window for them to engage. Like, this happens a lot. In Challenger, what you would do a lot, everyone knows that they want level 2 first, and everyone engages at level 2. And what you do is, like, you leave one minion with 1 HP, and then you intentionally get engaged level 2, and then when they go in on you, you finish killing the minion, you get level 2 with that one, and then you kill them instead. So that's, should I take, yeah. Obviously, a lot of this depends on the matchup, but what I'm saying is getting level 2 does not depend on the matchup. Like, you always want level 2, okay? Always. So for the supports out there, this means that as a support, you should be hitting that minion wave without attacks, okay? Always. The best indicator to know whether a support is high elo or low elo is if they are hitting the wave without attacks level 1. If you're not hitting the wave, probably means you're lower elo. Unless your ADC is pushing so much that he doesn't need your help, okay? So another thing about getting level 2 first is that you don't want to get it so fast that you push under the enemy tower. So the best way of getting level 2 is doing this. You see how many minions the enemy has left, and you have left. And let's say that they still need to kill the 3 melees of the second wave to a level 2. And you only have to kill 1 melee. So you will get level 2 first. Well, this is really good. But what if you only have to kill 1 melee, but they have like the whole wave left? This is not that good, because that means that when you get level 2, you're gonna push so much that you end up under the enemy tower, and then you cannot engage in the first place. So you wanna get level 2 in such a way that you only do it 1 or 2 minions ahead of the enemy. If you get level 2, 3, 4, 5 minions ahead of the enemy, like perma pushing, they're just gonna chill on their tower and they are fine. I see this a lot in Diamond and Master, Low Master, you see this a lot because that's the elo where people know that they need to get level 2. But they don't know how fast they need to get it. So they will like just push and shove, and then they get you on their tower, and the wave bounces and resets, and that's fine. You chill. You don't get engaged. Because remember, if you're an Nautilus, if you're Leona, you're not gonna tower dive level 2. So basically, see how many minions the enemy has, how many minions you have, and you only get level 2 based on like killing 1 or 2 more minions at the enemy. You match the same push he's doing plus 1 or 2 minions. Okay, that's how you get level 2. Same for 3. Level 3 again, huge window to engage. So every time you have a botlane with engages, you want to time your engages with the level advantage, always. Okay, that's the best thing you can do. And the last thing I want to mention is you should never get level 2 and then engage. If you plan on engaging, you should do it when the last minion before 2 is dying, so the enemy doesn't expect it. Because if you get level 2, they will just see that you got level 2 and they start running away. So the best thing you can do is like you kill 8 minions, and when the 9th is about to die, you start walking up already, and they get overconfident. If you do this below master, everyone falls for it. So you start walking up when the 8th minion is dying. Sorry, 9th minion is dying, but it still hasn't died. So between 8 and 9, right? So when you finally are melee range on them, they are like, what the fuck is this guy doing? They are just gonna fight you because it's both of you are level 1. But when you finally get to their melee range, the last minion dies and you get level 2. And now you are melee range level 2. That's really good. However, if you wait until you get level 2, they will see that you got level 2. They will start walking away and react. So that's too late. Especially important for champions like Tristana, champions like Nautilus, Leona. You always walk up 1 minion before level 2. So I'm gonna show you a clip that will explain this very well. In the second half of this bootcamp, we will see clips that you sent me. I looked at all of them. Some of them I saved for tomorrow's bootcamp, and I think 3 or 4 of them I saved for today. But I want to show you. Let me see if I can find the clip here. 1 second. So I don't really watch Midbeast a lot, but this clip I liked what I saw here because what you will see that this spike is doing. So this spike is 2000 LP in Chinese server, which is the hardest one in the world. So what you will notice here, how many minions does he need to kill for level 2 is 1, 2, 3. These 3 minions, right? Do you see it? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So what he's gonna do, he's gonna actually go in before the last minion dies. See, he's already going in. See how he's already walking up? And why is he walking up? Because he knows that he needs this minion to die. And he knows that the Jinx still needs to kill all these 3 to get level 2. So he's not waiting until the last minion dies. He's going in before the last minion dies, okay? Because Jinx is out of position now. If he waits and only gets level 2 and then engages, that's too late. So he starts engaging before level 2, okay? And as you can see, he starts charging the hook and flashing before the last minion dies. And this is perfect timing because now when the minion dies, he will get level 2 instantly at the same time as Jinx being level 2 there. And level up the E instantly. And this is why, by the way, you level up abilities with your keyboard. Much faster, right? But let's look at that again. Look at the wave state. Has to kill all these 3 melees and he starts going in before the wave dies. This is why as ADC, this is really important for ADC because look at what Kai'Sa does. Kai'Sa didn't go in and engage with Pyke. That would have been a bad ADC. A challenger ADC like Kai'Sa here, what they will do is hit that last minion to get level 2 as Pyke is going in. See Kai'Sa? There she hit the minion. And now, he gets level 2, and that's free kill, right? So, if this 2000 LP Chinese botlane fell for it, I promise your enemies will fall for it as well, okay? So that's the best thing you can do. You engage before getting the level 2 if you know, okay, if and only if you know you're getting it first. If this Pyke didn't have more minions than the enemy, you wouldn't have done that, okay? And Blitzcrank would have done it probably. In a similar fashion, if you're Blitzcrank or Jinxter, you need to start backing away before the level 2. Jinx and Blitzcrank should have backed off when there were like 2 or 3 minions left for level 2 because they look at the wave and they know there's no way they get it first, okay? So this is what I wrote here. Whenever you get a spike, it is important to walk up before you get it, 1 minion before. Whenever you see the enemies getting the spike, you need to walk out before they get it, okay? Don't wait until you see the XP, until you see the level up. So this is why you look at the minions. If you don't look at the minions, you don't know when that's gonna happen. The only way you can predict the future like that is looking at the minions, okay? So far, any questions? Okay. So next, let's go into a little bit of wave states and wave management in the Botlane. This matters a lot. So this is not like a rule that is objective. So everything that people say about wave management has some flavor of subjectivity into it. So this is how I teach it and how I see it, the simplification I do. So it's what I call the segments, okay? We can call it A, B, C, D, or we can call it 1, 2, 3, 4. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. But you will see why I do this. It's like a really nice cheat, I guess, that I do. So I apply this for every lane, not just Botlane. But what you do is you divide the lane in the middle, and then you have 2 segments on each side, right? So let's say that for this explanation, you're always gonna be blue side, right? So you're gonna be blue side. So you're gonna have like, let's call it A, B, C, D, right? So the first thing that you will notice about this is that each one of these segments has one, well, not one, but many pros and many cons. And by the way, when I say you should play in segment C, for example, I don't mean that you should go there personally, but rather that that is where the wave meets the enemy wave. So if I ask you in this clip, oh, I closed it. But if in a random clip I ask you, what segment of the lane are you currently playing in? The answer is whatever the lane, wherever the minions are meeting each other, not where you are. It's not where the champions are, it's where the minions are meeting each other, okay? So for example, if you crash the wave here under tower, and you go and chill here, but the minions are here fighting each other, this is where the wave is, in D. So you're playing in D, regardless of where your champion is, okay? So with that out of the way, each one of these has some pros and cons, depending as well on the matchup, depending on the items. So for example, it's not the same to be in D if you are about to dive the enemy and they are 1 HP, or if they are full HP, it's not the same, right? So it depends on the game state. But in general, let's go over, for example, B and C, which is what we care about for this explanation. What you gotta understand is the following. Every time you get level 2 first, you play in C or D. If you're blue side, right? If you're this guy. Every time the enemy gets level 2 first, they do it in B or A. Okay? So this is where you get level 2. This is where blue team gets level 2. And this is what red team gets level 2. So why does this matter? Well, remember when I told you you don't want to get level 2 but too far up? Basically, if you intend on engaging and killing the enemy, the only way you can do it is in C, right? If you're blue team, you are only gonna kill the enemy in C, level 2. If you're red team, you're only gonna kill the enemy in B, level 2. Unless, of course, you fail and you are getting level 2, you engage, but then you die, which would be like just misplaying, right? But in general, pay attention to your games. From now on, you will notice this. So in fact, if you watch the Pike clip again, to pull it up again, I closed it. So if you watch the Pike clip again, where did he kill the Chinks and Discrank? In the segment B, which I told you, if you're red team, you're gonna kill them level 2 in the segment B, okay? Always. If they were so pushed that they were under tower, they will never kill them, okay? Really, really, really simple. So why does this matter? Well, from now on, if you ask any ADC that isn't like challenge or whatever, they are never gonna give you an explanation of why they are playing in the current segment. So they will be playing, for example, in segment, I don't know, C, and you ask them, why are you playing in C? And they go like, I don't know, the wave just ended up there. So the first step to good wave management is being intentional about it. You cannot have good wave management if you end up in these segments without intending to, right? So actually, as a coach, it is better if you end up in a segment that is wrong, but you did it on purpose, than ending up on a segment that is correct, but you don't know why you did it, like just autopiloting into it. Because at least in one of them, you're thinking, okay, and you're gonna improve. So from now on, really easy. Every wave, think about like, okay, the next wave, which one of the 4 segments do I want to play in? So this is where the pros and cons come into play. So I'm gonna let you type now, and I'm gonna ask you, let's go one by one. So pros and cons. Let's say for segment, let's imagine you're always blue team, okay? You're always the blue team ADC. Let's ask, which one should we start with? Let's start with pros and cons of the last one, so D. You can tell me some pros and cons of playing there. Easiest to get ganked by? Wrong. I'm gonna explain why, but that's actually a trap. Hitting tower poking, okay, so you can do what I call tower stuff. So we have tower stuff, which is diving, plates, poking under tower, like anything that involves the tower, right? Ability pressure tower, cause opponent to lose CS to tower, yeah, so tower stuff. Tanks, you mean ganks, hybrid? Okay. So it can all it can it all of it can be like boiled down to two things. Every single answer you gave me is two things. One, you get tower stuff, and two, you leave lane. Okay, it allows you to leave the lane. Anything that involves leaving the lane. So recalling, going for scuttle, going for wards, going for drake, going to roam mid lane. All of this is leaving the lane, right? So D is where you can leave the lane and where you do tower stuff. Period. The cons here. Somebody said easiest to get ganked. Not true. It is dangerous, but not the easiest to get ganked. So one of the cons is that you can get ganked. Yeah, can get ganked. And can anyone think about another bad thing about playing in D? Apart from like getting ganked, which is, by the way, not the worst one. There's another segment which is getting hit by tower. Well, I mean, yeah, but well, the bad thing about playing in D, guys, is that you have less kill pressure. The only kill pressure you have is a tower dive, and that's not very easy, right? So out of all of the segments, D is where you're gonna have the lowest kill pressure on the enemy. Okay, that's simple. Especially in lower elas where people don't tower dive with the jungle and stuff. Okay, so in Challenger maybe D has some kill pressure, but it also depends on the matchup and stuff. In general, low kill pressure. Okay, so you're basically freezing the state of the lane when you do this. When you play in D, it's like I'm gonna keep the lane state as it is, not gonna kill you, but I'm gonna do stuff out of the lane. Okay, so you go to D when you wanna do stuff out of the lane, or some champions if you want to do some tower stuff, such as Caitlyn. But Caitlyn is so bad right now, so don't pick her. So I want to go to the one that my friend here said is getting... Who said it? The Tilted Tomato? Was it you? No, Shadow Primes. So Shadow Prime said that this is the easiest to get ganked. No, I will say why. When you play in D, remember when I told you, I was expecting this answer. This is why I gave you the caveat of this is where the wave is, but it's not where you are. Because, guys, when you crash the wave into D, you can chill and wait here, and you will not lose any minions. So actually, if you go and get the wave into D, you can chill in the back, and you cannot get ganked for two reasons. One, you're gonna be far away from the tower, and two, the enemy bot lane has to walk over their own minions to gank you. The ADC never wants to do that. If you play ADC, you know how bad it feels when you have the wave under tower and the jungler wants to gank. That feels really bad, right? You have been here before. So if you know this, you will know that therefore under tower is not the most dangerous, right? Like you know how bad it feels when you have the Hecarim pinging you and popping up ghosts and you're like here under tower and you're like I can't follow, right? So there's a zone here which is the most dangerous and you get ganked. So it is zone C here. So C has the most cons and the least pros out of any zone. And in general, again, this is if you are blue side. This is all from the point of view of this guy. So I'm gonna... This is an eye. So this is his point of view, okay? So C is the one that is usually the one that you almost never want to play in, unless there's only one situation that you want to play there. And I'm gonna explain. But in C, can anyone tell me pros and cons here? So it has the most cons, the least pros. One pro that I will get out of the way is that in level 1 and level 2, that's where you're gonna kill the enemy if you get level 2 or 3 first, right? So that's one pro, like the kill pressure with the power spike of the level, but that's pretty much the only one. Can easily freeze wave. Yeah, true. So the enemy will freeze a wave, you will have trouble farming. Okay, so that's a good pro. So the two pros that we have is the kill pressure level 2 and 3. Level 2/3 power spike kill pressure. Remember, Pike killed the enemy in this zone, right? From his point of view, it was his C. It was here because he was red side. And the other one is that you can slow push, okay? You can set up a slow push. It doesn't matter if you threaten dive, but zone Z is where you can set up the slow push really well, right? But everything else about zone Z is going to be cons, okay? It is the most dangerous one to play in. You are going to get ganked really easily for two reasons. One is the one that you're furthest away from your tower, because you're going to be here. You have to be here. Like, in zone D, you could crush the wave and wait, because you don't lose minions. You already killed the minions. But in zone Z, if you wait here, you're going to lose every minion. This is why the freeze happens in this area, because if the enemy freezes here, you lose minions. If the enemy freezes here, you don't lose anything. If the wave is there, you already got the wave. Okay. So this is the most dangerous one. The jungler has the easiest access, and not only that, the enemy bot lane doesn't have to walk through their own minion wave to get to you. They're closer to you, okay? They're really close. So think about Pyke or Nautilus, any hook champion, engaged champions. If you're in zone C, the enemy Pyke and Nautilus will be fairly close to you, right? They will be here. Whereas if you are playing in D, they will be like under tower and you will be here. So it's way further apart. Okay. So it's the most dangerous one. And also it's the one where you can't ever recall. You cannot recall in zone C. Because if you recall in zone C, you're guaranteed to either get frozen by the enemy or lose minions. So zone C is the zone where you can't even leave the lane. Out of all of the 4 segments, C is the only one that the support cannot roam. Okay. Think about it. If you're in B, you can freeze yourself and your support can roam while you're freezing. In zone A, you can farm under tower and the support can roam. In zone D, you crush the wave and the support can roam. C is the one where your support is gonna not be able to play the game. So unless you're going for the level 2 or 3 spike, if you wanna make your support help you more, stop getting the wave into zone C, okay? Your support is gonna have to ward, and because you're in danger, your support cannot have as much kill pressure as you would like. Your support doesn't have like the tools to roam around the map. I guess the only good thing about zone C is that you can threaten these power spikes and go in. That's the only thing about it, right? Because unless you have level advantage over the enemy by playing in zone C, a pike hook will be more effective here, right? Because the enemy is further away from the tower. And you are not inside the enemy minion wave. But if you fight here, not only they are closer to the tower, but they have a minion wave that will hit you, okay? Again, I want to stress this. The exception is when you go for level spikes. And the only reason this is an exception is if you're in B, you will never get the level spike. They will get it first, okay? With that out of the way, it sounds okay if you know where the enemy mid and jungler is. Not really, unless you want a tower dive or slow push to crush away and recall. Not really, because you don't get anything out of it. The enemy can just freeze and chill and farm. Like, imagine you're up against an Ashe that has no flash. If you play in zone C, the Ashe can still farm and CS pretty like safely from here. But if you keep the wave in B, then the Ashe can never come to a wave and touch it. So like C is where the enemy will be the most comfortable. Can you set up a lane gank through zone C? I guess so, but you can... That's really like matchup and situation dependent. I think you don't need to... Like, you could just crash it for that reason. And then the best setup for lane gank is you crash the wave, the jungler gets... Just notice that this is an old bot lane picture. My bad. There's no alcove. Okay, I'm gonna write the alcove here. Okay, that's the alcove. So if you wanna lane gank, it's better to crash it. The jungler comes into a lane and then the wave bounces and it comes back to the middle, and now the jungler is here and the enemy is here, and it's really easy. But if you set up the lane gank in C, the jungler can only come to the bushes in this zone and the enemy is here really far away. Whereas if you crash it, it will come, the jungle comes here and the wave bounces. Again, imagine this is the new bot lane with the 3 bushes, same concept, okay? So even for lane ganks, crashing would be better and letting it bounce. So it's not like C is the worst. I mean, it's not like C, you never want to be in C. It's that from now on, guys, I want you to pay close attention to this. From now on, if you're in C, ask yourself the question, is this actually the segment I want to be playing in? Because I promise you, from watching a lot of my sessions, C is the segment where the most people lose value unintentionally, okay? Sometimes you do want to play in C, like I said, if you want to get level 2 first, if you want to get level 3 first, if you want to go for a slow push and a tower dive, those cases, or slow push and then recall, C is fine. Slow push and then run for Drake, C is fine, but usually most players end in this zone unintentionally 80% of the time, and it's the wrong one 80% of the time. So you only want to be in C if you actually know what you're doing and if you actually do it on purpose. So from now on, never be in C unintentionally. Your jungle cannot... By the way, another con is that your own jungle cannot gank the enemy. They are safe, right? You cannot kill them, you cannot gank them, like it's really bad, right? Okay, next. You know what? I have a cheat here and you're gonna be happy about this. I don't have to explain zone A and B. You know why? There's actually only 2 segments here, C and D. You know why? Because A and B are C and D but mirrored for the enemy. So every single pro and con about B is every single pro and con about C but flipped, literally. So we don't have to explain it. So for example, when I told you C is really bad because the enemy can freeze, B is really good because you can freeze. So they are the same but flipped, okay? So wave management becomes really, really, really freaking easy once you realize that these two are the same as these two, but from the point of view of the enemy. So when people ask me, when should I freeze? I tell them, when does the enemy want to push? That's when you want to freeze, okay? Really easy. When does the enemy not want you to freeze? That's when you freeze. So wave management is really good because there's no pushing and freezing. There's pushing and not pushing from the point of view of the enemy, right? Like when you look at it that way, it's so much easier. Okay, so A and B are the same as C and D, but flipped, period. Every pros and cons that we went over are the same here, but flipped. Okay? So that's how you become better at weight management, really easy. So there's 2 last things I want to go over in terms of positioning and lane segments, and then we can go look at some clips. So these are gonna be what we call lane pockets, or I call them lanes. I'm gonna explain why. So imagine this was a highway, a boulevard if you're feeling fancy, or a road if you live in my country, because we don't have asphalt in my hometown. So imagine that this has like the street, like what do you call it in English? Like the lanes, and it's divided in 2 lanes. That's why I call it lanes, because you have like right lane and left lane in the lane itself. But let's call it pockets to not make it confusing, right? So we have left and right. Okay, you follow me? So this is the same for all the lane. So basically, 2 things you should know: the concept of mirroring, okay, and how this plays with engagers, how this plays with like farmers, like, and how this plays with the jungler. So first thing that I will explain, if you are a mid laner, you might have noticed this before, this applies to every single lane. Usually your lane opponent will mirror the position you're in. If you look at most clips of any player in all Ilos, by the way, this is not a conscious thing they do, this is subconscious. Whenever you go to this side, the enemy will go to the opposite side. And whenever you flip and walk to this side, the enemy will walk to this side. So usually the ADCs will mirror each other and the supports will mirror each other. If you do this in mid lane, I promise you this is broken as hell, because in mid lane, here's how you play with the jungle. And here's how you do it with bot lane. Let's say that your jungle is waiting here for a gank. Let's say this guy is playing Hecarim because he hates life. So, does Hecarim have... Is that the right... Okay, I don't know if he has like 6 limbs, but whatever. Imagine that he's coming here. So what do you want to do? You want to make the enemies come as close to the jungle? Okay, confirmed. I'm getting... Production is telling me that he has 6 limbs. So imagine that he wants to gank here, and again, you're gonna be blue side for all of these explanations. You wanna make the enemies two things. You wanna make the enemies as close to Hecarim as you can. The same way when there was a lane gank, you wanted to make the enemies get close to the jungle, remember? Same thing. You wanna get the enemies close to Hecarim. And you wanna sandwich the enemies between you and Hecarim. Because imagine that you come from here and the enemies are here. That's way better. They have like no way out. Whereas if you both on Hecarim and you come from the same place, they have like a clear way out. So this is what in League we call the pincer move, right? Pincers are always broken. So how do you do this? You force him to mirror. So what you do whenever you have a jungle coming, you intentionally move to the right side of the lane. This will cause the enemy to unintentionally, I guess, move to the left side of the lane. That's super good and broken. So every time you're playing bot lane and your jungle is coming, hug this wall. I promise that the enemy will move to this side of the lane, and then Hecarim or whoever is playing here will be really close and really easy to gank. Super, super, super easy, okay? And the other reason this matters, so this matters for the jungle. By the way, mid lane, top lane, so Dylan, I know you play mid lane, do this in mid lane as well. Super broken. Whenever your jungle is gonna gank mid lane, you intentionally put yourself in the opposite pocket as your jungle. The enemy mirrors you, and the gank is 100% guaranteed. This is how you help your jungle. So what about playing against engagers? So when you play against, can I give the example of Nautilus? What I want to stress here is that the enemies don't do this on purpose. Even bronze players will mirror you. And I will explain why, but it's just what feels natural, okay? It's just that when you exploit something that they don't even know that they are doing, then that's how you abuse it really easily. Because they don't even know that they are mirroring you. They just do it by like intuition, I guess. I don't know. So next thing is gonna be how you play against engagers. So the number one mistake most of my students do against an engaged support as an ADC is they don't mirror. So against an engaged support, you wanna mirror. So remember how I told you the ADC mirrors the ADC and the support. So let's give these colors. So let's say that ADC mirrors the ADC and support mirrors the support. What you'll notice here is that ADC is not mirroring the support. So this is really, 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 really bad if you're against an engaged support. If you're an ADC against an engaged support, you always want to mirror the engager, not the ADC. Why? Because what happens when you mirror, guys? Why would this be? Yeah, but why? Max distance, that's number one. Guys, it's the minions. It's the minions. When you mirror, there are minions here. When you don't mirror, there are no minions here. Okay? It's that easy. So you always mirror to have minions between you and the engagers. So the other one that is really important is the distance. So if we make a circle here, I wish I had the circle tool. I think you have to pay to make circles here. That's bullshit. But if you imagine a circle here, I'm gonna do it as best as I can. I'm gonna make a range circle around the ADC here. So what you will notice is that if I make a range circle, the support is inside. So the guy that is not mirroring is closer in range than the guy that is mirroring. Look at how far away the guy that is mirroring is. See? So whenever you don't mirror someone, you're closer to them in distance. And when you add the fact that he doesn't have minions between you and him, that's why against an engager, you always mirror. Why? Because this is more distance than this. Well, simple Pythagoras theorem, guys. This is the part that you will hate me, but listen. If this is a right side triangle, right? The hypotenuse is always longer than one of the sides, right? XD. Anyway, so that's why you always mirror against an engager, so you don't get engaged. So I will show you a clip of a student not doing this. I think the student is here. Was it you, Dan, that you got hooked by Nautilus the other day? Maybe I'm misremembering. I think it was Dan, but I'm not sure. I might be trolling here. Called out, yeah. Was it you that we had a session that you play against Anolus? Okay, anyway. And with farmers and enchanters and champion like that, when you're up against an enchanter, it's kind of the same, but now you actually mirror the ADC. If you just want to farm and chill and they don't have an engager, this is a good setup because you don't really care about getting engaged. So if this is a Soraka and this is like a random ADC, then it's fine, right? Because now you're free farming essentially, and the ADC range reaches here, but it doesn't reach here. That's why it's really good. By the way, this is the same reason why when Caitlyn pushes you under tower and gets you under tower, Caitlyn plays here. Why is that? Because she can hit you if you don't mirror, but the tower doesn't hit her because the tower is further away. Okay, look at that range. See, she can hit this, but the tower doesn't hit her. And you might think, okay, against Caitlyn, I want to mirror to not get this done to me. So that's why Caitlyn traps here, so that you don't mirror her. If Caitlyn traps here, you have no choice but to break the mirror, okay? So this is why Caitlyn puts 2 traps here, and then you are forced to play in the same side of the lane as her, and that's really bad, okay? So whenever you are a champion, what if you're playing against a Karma Kate? How do you play that out? Well, that's the thing. If they play it correctly, it's really unplayable because they force you to get in one side of the lane. And the basics of it is whenever you are the one that has the prio in the lane, the either engage potential or poke potential, you are the one that has the upper hand in lane, you want to break the mirror. And whenever you are the one that wants to farm and you don't want to engage or anything, you want to keep the mirror. So this is why Caitlyn will trap here in these 2 points, and then you're forced to not mirror her, and then she can auto attack you and the tower doesn't hit her. That's really good. What if no, I mean against Karma Kate you depend on jungle. That's it. If jungle didn't exist in League, Karma Kate would be one of the best bot lanes in the game. The reason it's not is because jungle is a thing, right? So you gotta set up for the jungle, and the other thing you can do against them is try to look for engages where when they waste cooldown. So if Karma Mantra Qs and Caitlyn Qs or E's, then you gotta go all in and try to kill. The other thing you can do against Karma Caitlyn is draft sustain, and they don't have any sustain. So if you trade 50-50 aggressively, then you heal back up and they don't heal back up. Then the last thing I want to talk about before looking at the clips is positioning and spacing in lane. It matters a lot, right? So who here can tell me what spacing means in terms of the ADC? So what you said, hybrid, that's more like positioning, right? How far away you're from opponent in the way, that's positioning, not spacing. So using your maximum range, you have decent range advantage. So that's okay. So let me explain what spacing means in simple terms. Spacing means changing your position constantly according to your range and the enemy's range to get the most out of it, right? That's what spacing is. Basically, spacing is when your position is not static, okay? So how does this work? You don't need to have higher range than the enemy to space them, okay? Because range is not the only thing that determines who can hit each other. The other thing that determines who can hit each other is cooldowns. Our attacks have a cooldown. Remember my latest bootcamp? Our attacks have a cooldown, don't they? Our attack, our attack, our attack. There's a cooldown in between these, right? Remember? So you may think, okay, I don't have enough range to space that guy. Well, but he has cooldowns in his auto attack. So if you auto attack here, he has to wait all this time and he cannot auto attack back, okay? So spacing depends in 2 things. Cooldown tracking, both auto attacks and abilities, and range, okay? So the way you're gonna... One thing I notice about most of my students that play botlane is the lower elo they go, the less they space. And this hurts them so much. Because what I mean here, let's give the example of Jhin, okay? What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna write a graph. The reason I picked Jhin is because his attack speed is the lowest of all the ADCs, so it's really easy for you guys to picture this. but this applies to every ADC, even if your attack speed goes higher. So Jhin, how does Jhin go? Well, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So he goes 1, then nothing, 2, then nothing, 3, then nothing, and 4, more damage, then nothing, right? So this is basically damage. Oh, 60 damage, and this is time, right? So why is Jhin better in high elo than low elo? This is why, because the best thing you can do with Jhin is get in the max auto attack range here, and then here you go out. Then here you go in, then here you go out. Then here you go in, okay? So every time I coach, one of the main issues that players do when I coach them in bot lane is that they play at the same range of the enemy and the wave during the whole wave. The 6 minions will come and they will be at the same range every single auto attack instead of going in and out. So when their auto attacks are on cooldown here, when they don't have cooldowns to auto attack, well, here, when they have no cooldowns to auto attack, they still are in the same range and they get poked, they get hit, they get hooked, they get destroyed. Okay, because they play the wave in such a way that as if their champion was like this, like a constant stream of laser beam damage. Like if you were, I don't know, there's a reason Vel'Koz doesn't move on heals, right? you wouldn't space a Vel'Koz ult because that's constant damage. But every single damage source in League, especially ADCs, is like quantum, we would say. It comes in quantities, in packets. So one auto attack, nothing. One auto attack, nothing, right? It's not a constant stream. Therefore, your positioning should reflect that. Your positioning should be in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Every single auto attack. Okay, every single auto attack. So I saw you guys do this in a lot of the clips. Quantum mechanics. Yeah. So it's like your support is gonna be honored and reported at the same time, and until you make the observation, you don't know it's superposition of states. Yeah. So anyway, the idea here is that you're gonna practice this every time you play from now on, which is when you go in here. By the way, this in means max range. It doesn't mean you go melee range. This is another really bad thing that people do, which is they play in closer range than their max range, and they play melee range from the minion wave. So you're gonna go in when you have the auto attack, out when it's on cooldown, in when you have. Okay, so let me explain something here. What are the two most OP stats in League that everyone knows? Does anyone know? Like the two most important OP stats that a champion can have? No. So what if I have a AD in Syndra? Is that OP? If I have crit in Syndra? Yeah, Dylan, correct. Range and speed. Okay. Range and speed are the two most OP stats in the game that every single champion. Name a champion. I will tell you how I make it broken by giving you range and speed. You say Rammus, okay. Rammus Taunt now has 1000 range. Most broken champion in the game, right? If you tell me Vayne now has permanent Team W, like passively Team W permanently. Most broken champion in the game, right? So why is it the most broken? Well, there's something about range, by the way. Range scales with elo. When Riot buffs the range of a champion, it only makes the win rate go up in higher elo. So why is that? Because in higher elo, people will be doing this, and if you increase the range, you increase how much they can do this. And speed as well. If you increase the speed, they can go in and out more effectively. So this is why, if you want to become high elo, you gotta play the range and the speed game, the spacing and the speed game, in and out, okay? So from now on, I don't want you to do two things. I don't want you to be melee range, getting hit by the wave. Sorry, hitting the wave in your melee range. So as an ADC, you are gonna hit the minions only when you need to, and only from your max range, and then you're gonna walk out. So max range, walk out, max range, walk out. I'm gonna show you what that means, and then we're gonna go see some clips of people breaking the law. Okay, breaking the law. So I think I have an account here that has some. Name an ADC here. What ADC do you wanna see? Guys, I wanted someone to say Geisa because I have a skin. Let's go. Okay. So, I don't have Nyla. So do you want prestige or do you want IG? Or do you want the dragon? I think the dragon one is the best one actually. In my opinion. Isn't the dragon one the best one?
Are you the hunter?
Okay, the runes don't really matter too much. IG, okay, you want IG. Arcade is the worst one, that's what I can tell you for sure. So what I'm going to showcase here is how you play the range to the wave and the spacing in and out. These are the two most fundamental things that are going to make you win more games in the laning phases and ADC. Because I have so many students. This is my first time using this skin. I hope it's good. I got it in my shop, but I haven't used it.
Minions have spawned. 30 seconds until minions spawn.
Hold our ground. Attack them in theirs.
So basically, there are no minions that I want to kill. Depending on whether I want to engage or not, of course, I will like try to get level 2 first. But see how I'm going out every single auto attack? I'm not staying in the same range always, see? I'm going in, I'm going out. So now I don't want to auto attack that guy. I don't want to push like below the enemy tower. So I auto attack, go out, okay? Always in and out. So you see how I'm going in and out. I wouldn't push under tower if there was an enemy pushing as well here, right? But see how I'm not in range. I'm out, 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 checking my range. And I only go in when I wanna out attack a minion. So now I go out again. See, it's spacing. In and out, in and out. So now I wanna out attack, I go in. If I wanna out attack that guy, you can miss it. See, I missed it there because I was too late. I moved in too late. So you don't wanna move in too late. See, in and out. So you see how I'm moving in and out. Let's do it here as well. This wave is kind of a mess, but see, in and out. And I don't go melee range to hit these minions, right? I only need to get close to a minion if I actually want to hit it in that moment. That doesn't mean that you don't push. It just means that you only go into minion's range when you intend to hit a minion. If you have no intentions of hitting a minion, then don't get into its range. Here I have no intentions of hitting until now. See? Okay? And see how I'm pressing A lot? This is just to measure my max range and know for sure when I can, like that, see? So this is spacing the minion waves, and this is what you're gonna do with enemies as well. So I'm gonna show you how it looks like with some of my students, most of my students that are below Master, how they farm the wave, and you're gonna see the difference now. So what they are gonna do is they're gonna do something like this.
This is my purpose. Learn from me.
Okay? You see how I'm in the melee range and close range even though I'm not out attacking. Okay, this is really bad. I'm always in the same range to the wave. That's really, really, really bad. Okay? But like this is super bad because I don't have any intentions of hitting anyone right now. So why don't I just wait here? Like let's say I was here. Do I lose anything right now? Look, I'm not losing anything. What am I losing? Nothing, right? So of course that's an exaggeration, right? But just to paint a picture that even if you're far away, if there are no minions dying, you're not gonna lose anything until here, until that minion dies. That's when you lose someone.
This skin is
So basically, if you wanna die less in the lane, if you wanna be more effective, and also if you wanna get less minion arrow, trade better, because by the way, if there's a guy here, you're gonna do the same, right? Like, see, he cannot hit me from that range up until I get close range. But if I get close range, even then I go like 1, 2, 3, and then again out. And because I have Hail of Blaze. But if you're playing Caitlyn without Hail of Blaze or whatever, it's like auto attack him and go out. Let me remove the wave. Auto attack him and go out. Like that. See, spacing. And you can even space with high attack speed, right? Right. So this is where the A comes into play, because if you press A a lot, you know the exact pixel at which you can hit here. Whereas if you click from far away like this, look at this, you get a little bit units closer, so that's bad. You space better if you just press A lot like that. Okay, so in and out, and this is why champions with higher speed and higher range are more broken in higher elo, because people do this more. So if you just want to get higher elo, do this more. Don't stay close range to the wave unless you want to actually out attack, and always space in and out, okay? See how I'm hitting at like the pixel perfect moment there, see? Okay, so that's pretty much all there is to it. So now I'm gonna show you a couple of clips of people breaking these rules. So I have them here. So is this any of you? Level 2. Second. So number 2, who is this? Somebody sent me this clip, I don't know who it was. But when you see the nickname, whoever it was will know. So it was the number 2 here. Who was this? Let's see. Vayne. Oh, okay, Hybrid. It was you, Hybrid. Okay. Oh god, oh no. So hybrid. The reason I picked this clip, Hybrid, is because you got a kill level 2 and you killed the Scion despite doing everything wrong. So what I want to show here is how you can do it better, and even though the outcome was good, it was just because they played it so bad. Okay. But now that we know what we talked about, first thing he's doing wrong is he's playing Vayne without a skin, right? So this is one of those cases. No excuse. Scion support. Yeah. Look at that Janna. Boom. Okay, so first thing, see how he's playing really close range to the wave instead of like playing at his max range. This could, if this was a higher elo Jhin and this Scion didn't hit Janna, instead hit him, he could have got hidden like Jhin could have hit him with the 3 Qs here, and then it bounces on him, and then out attack him with fleet footwork, runs away after a fleet footwork. Scion could also Q him, so this range is already really bad. See how close he's playing from the wave. Especially because this is an enemy Jhin. But now look, now he's spacing out, so that's good. So there we see a little bit of spacing there in that minion. There, out. So the intention is there, I like it. We're losing the minion, so whatever. So here, first huge mistake. This guy is airborne for like 1 point something. So Vayne here should have walked up to him, out-attack him, then Q sideways, and out-attack him again, and that's like 150 free damage. Instead, we did nothing. And now, of course, we cannot get close anymore because he has a 4-shot. But that's why we would have done it when he was knocked up. That would have been spacing, because you go in when he cannot answer and you go out when he can hit you. That would have been spacing, okay? So this is the first huge mistake. Then the other mistake we see here is when he finally gets level 2. Remember what I talked about level 2, all of those rules I gave you. So now he's spacing the Jhin auto attack fairly well until this moment. So here you could have, Jhin is reloading. Why don't we Q and auto attack the Jhin? He's reloading, okay? Remember the Jhin graph that I drew with my artistic prowess? Jhin is in this moment. Jhin is here now. So what happens if you just out attack him and then Q, or even just 1 Q? What can he do about it? Nothing. So we are not paying attention to the in and out possibilities. We are not spacing, see? We are constantly playing safe. So in this case, you're always in the out. You're always here. You're always out. You should have went in here. He's going out. He's doing the right thing, but you could chase and Q, okay? But now, this is the thing. Who's getting level 2 first here, guys? Look at the minions. What's gonna happen? Right, so Vayne will kill 1 minion. Jhin has to kill 2 minions, right? So shouldn't Vayne start approaching right now? Remember the Chinese spike? Shouldn't Vayne and Janna start walking up right now, even before the minion dies? Right. Because remember what I told you, no enemy volume will win. So it would have been different if this minion was lower HP. Vayne still gets level 2 first, but she shouldn't walk up, because if she walks up, they get level 2 and they counter and they win the 2v2 level 2. But this is one of those cases that you know you get it first and they are not even close to getting it, right? Saiyan is like, when people are like this distracted, I like to say they are in Omegle or whatever it's called. Saiyan right now is in Omegle, okay? Omegle. He's like chatting with someone, he's not paying attention. He's not hitting the wave, and this is why a higher elo Saiyan would have hit the wave. And this is why Janna hitting the wave, you see this auto attack? That's really good by Jana, like helping you hit level 2. Now look, see, she could have been here already. She should have been there, because then Sion is dead. You focus Sion here, because if you focus Jin, he's gonna either hit you and fleet footwork run away, or like, I don't think he dies ever if you hit him here. But Sion is very much dead here. Jana knocks him up, and you can just focus him. So now, first mistake, we trade aggro here, which is not very good. You wanna focus only one guy. In teamfights and fights in general, guys, you don't wanna swap targets. You wanna hit the same guy so that the idea is to make the fight a numbers advantage as soon as you can. If you kill the Jin or Sion first, then it's 2v1. But if you swap the aggro, it's 2v2 for longer. So you wanna make it 2v1 as fast as you can. But anyway, notice how much lower Jin would have been and how much easier this would have been if Vayne had walked up sooner and didn't aggro the Sion, okay? But not only that, I told you, Jin's never gonna die here. He's too close to the tower. You should have focused Sion from the get-go. Sion doesn't have fleet footwork. Sion's too far away from Jin to get healed by Jin's heal. So Sion would be no heal, no closeness to the tower, right? Sion was the focus. Okay, now we have a little bit of a meme. So, here. Good bot laner would just leave here. Why? Because he's never gonna die. He has heal. He's baiting you. I know you hit the tower. Guys, you know he's gonna hit the tower. I know he's gonna hit the tower. Everybody knows he's gonna hit the tower. There, he hit the tower. Doesn't matter. Because Jin healed. He wouldn't have died. In fact, if anything, if you ask me, Vayne, by hitting the tower, Vayne survived here. Because if she went deep enough to hit the Jin, she would have ate another tower shot and she was dead. So actually hitting the tower saved Vayne here. Funnily enough. But if you hit the Jin, look at this. The only way you could have out-attacked Jin here is if you walk to this point. Whereas the tower, you can hit it from here. So if you had actually clicked on Jin, he would have pulled you like the Skarner ultimate to this point, and you would have died. But regardless, that's besides the point. Everything that happens here is because of bad aggro. You should have aggroed Sion from the get-go. And now we have the kill, and as I mentioned before, Jin healed really far away from Sion, so Sion doesn't have heal, and that's why he dies, okay? So it ends up working out. But it only works out because of the enemy. It's also misplaying, and the Sion kinda win trading here, right? So the issue here is not walking up sooner and swapping aggro when you shouldn't. And after Jin goes 1 HP under tower, you just leave him. You shouldn't like even try to go for that tower shot, because you know he's gonna heal. There's no way you can kill him at that point. At that point, League in that situation is like a Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic the Gathering situation, which is like you have turns and you know what's gonna happen in the next turn. You know that you're not gonna kill him, so don't even try. So that's the first clip I wanted to show. And now I wanted to show another thing, which is you should have recalled in 240. So 240 is 240 in the video, which is 315 here. So guys, what do you think? Should Vayne recall or should Vayne stay here? I want your answers. By the way, Jin still didn't recall and he's low HP and he's trying to recall. He's going for a recall right now. Yeah. So should she even kill any minions or recall like this? Like, should she touch the wave? Yeah, exactly. Right, so this is a huge mistake here. You can only push before... Right, guys, listen. You can only push before recalling if you have enough wave clear to crash the wave under tower before the enemy comes back. Is there any way that a level 2 Vayne and Janna can crash this wave under tower before Jin comes back? No, impossible, right? So Vayne should have absolutely recalled here, but let's see what happens. So we're staying. By the way, the only reason Jin stays is because Jin stays and Janna goes for him. He was trying to recall. So both Janna and Vayne misplayed. Vayne should have recalled and Janna should have let Jin recall. So you see, this is another point in which it ended up working kinda because Jin had to flash, but this is Jin misplaying. So the point I want to make here is the reason you don't climb, guys, if you do this, is you are relying on the enemy to be bad for you to win the game, aren't you? You are not making good plays. You are relying on the enemy to make a bad play. How often are you gonna be correct about that? Around 50% of the time. That's why your win rate is 50%. Because if you rely on the enemy to climb, you're only gonna be climbing 50% of the games, okay? So what happened here is Vayne coin flip that the Jing was gonna be bad. She was right. She's not gonna be right always, okay? Don't rely on the enemies to climb. Right, and also that she has the advantage, she has the gold and still didn't use it, right? So, okay, so next one. I have another one here. Let me see. Uh, ta- 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 um, So this one is from one of my sessions, but it doesn't matter because this is so important to watch. And it is... Remember what I told you guys about the range to the wave? They're not being melee range. So look at this Sivir, how close she's gonna stay to the wave. See that? Why did she get pulled? Look at the range from the minion, right? So this minion, that's the one that she wants to last hit. The minion that she wanted to last hit was here. Therefore, she could have been here. Not only that, these three minions, if she doesn't even want to hit them, she can just chill here and attack, right? So you see how this happened because when the wave arrived, this is actually, right now, it is correct to be here. But the issue is, 5 seconds in the future, she's not gonna space. She's gonna stay in the same exact point. Look, correct, and now it's not correct anymore. The minions moved, but she didn't move. See? And now look at what happens. I don't know, it's lagging a little bit. YouTube, please. But see, why does she get hit by the astral Q? Again, she's coming to this point here when this minion is not even dead. She could wait here, and when the minion is low, she walks up to this point, hits it, and comes back, right? So she's not spacing. This is why she's getting hit so much. And you might think this is just poke. Again, same thing. See how when the minion was not even low, the minion's still not dead. Remember when I did the Kaisa thing? If I was doing the Kaisa thing, I would have waited here, right? The minion's not dying yet. You can wait. But see how she's in like out attack range of the minion, even though she's not out attacking, right? So as an ADC, you never want to be in out attack range if you're not out attacking. What's the point, right? This is why when I see something funny, this is exactly why we see this. Look at this. Now you know why Swain in bronze has 52% win rate, almost 53, but in Diamond Plus has less, and in Master has less as well, okay? So why does he have almost 2% more in Master, sorry, in low elo, see, than in high elo? Because people will stay close to wave, okay? They will get destroyed. By the way, this is in all lanes, but if you go to support and you go to Diamond Plus Master, yeah, see, so in Master Plus support he has negative win rate, but in bronze he has 52. So it's like S tier in low elo, C tier, B like D tier in high elo. Why is that? Because people don't even space, okay, in lower elo. People will not be spacing and applying these concepts. This is not a clip, okay? Now he's 1 HP because of that, and he literally lost the game here because look, he's gonna be 1 HP. I don't know why his YouTube is lagging so much, but he's gonna be 1 HP. Again, he gets hit once. Again, here, look at this. Why is he getting so close range? Why is he not hitting the astral? Doesn't matter. But right now, I think there was a tower dive on the Senna or something. Yeah, so look at this. See how much he lost? You might think that was cool, but look at this. He's losing so much. If I was this ADC and Losing this under tower would feel so bad. Oh my god. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 minions. Ah, hurts. Okay. So that's why spacing is the biggest difference between low and high low and why it matters so much. Now I will show you the mirroring thing. So look at this. This is almost the last one. Remember what I told you about mirroring and the range to the wave? Again, melee ranging the wave, isn't she? Right? That's the first red flag. If you just by watching these 10 seconds of game, I know this is not a high elo Saya, right? Just by the range and spacing of the minions. But remember about the mirroring? Why did Nautilus not hit that hook? Because Saya is mirroring. There are minions in between. Keep that in mind. Because now where is Saya now and where is Nautilus now? Look, mirroring, mirroring, and breaks the mirror. We break the mirror here, didn't we? Right? We're in the same lane, the same side of the lane as Nautilus. Okay? So, to be continued. Just kidding. But you know, this is why it matters so much to mirror or not mirror. And not only that, did anyone else notice how Nautilus and Jin got level 3 and she only started running away after they got level 3? But this was entirely preventable if you knew that this is the wave after cannon wave. And remember what I told you? Wave after cannon, last melee dice, they get level 3. So, that one there. Easy peasy. So, she's not paying attention to the level, power spikes. And remember what I told you. They are playing in what is their point of view, the zone C. And remember what I told you, the only advantage of this is that you get the level 3 first and level 2 first and you can engage. Now you know. Every time you're playing in this zone, enemies get level 2 or 3 before you. And no mirror, dead. I don't think she dies actually, but yeah, that's really bad. She got destroyed. Okay. And now, about the not running away before the enemy gets level 2, we see the same thing here, look. Who's gonna get level 2 first here? This is the second wave. Right. So they only have to kill these 2 minions that are 1 HP. Well, she has to kill 3 minions, like 1, 2, 3. Really bad, right? But look at her position. Therefore, is it okay that Saya is here? That's really bad, right? She should already be running away. Because we look at the enemy minions. So now she realizes, but Senna doesn't. Senna goes in. By the way, that's kind of a bullshit hook. Do you think that hits, guys? That shouldn't hit. IMO. I don't know. It shouldn't, right? Okay. That didn't hit. But if that hits, one pixel to the left, and Senna is dead here, and it's all because she walks up. This is all because Saya walks up and then Senna walks up. How are you walking up when the level 2 is... Look at this. Level 2. This is so bad, right? By the way, Nautilus is not level 2 because I think he missed a minion or whatever. Doesn't matter. But anyway, this was a huge coin flip that they survived because they were lucky. Okay? Never ever do this. Again, you're relying on the enemy to misplay. If you rely on the enemy to misplay for you to climb, we are in trouble. And we have another one here. Who is this? Is this Vayne again? No, right? Oh yeah, I think it's Vayne again. Yeah, we have hybrid again. So let's not spoil hybrid. Poor guy. No. Just listen. Okay. So a lot of you sent me clips and I recorded 6 of them during the weekend and the patch came out and some of you sent me, even though we made the announcement, some of you sent me replay files instead of video files. That's why we couldn't open all of them. So who is this? Is this person in the channel right now? This is one of the clips I got sent. This is the last clip we will see. Mouse clicking is super important, yeah. Circles are fine though. What matters is that you click a lot and as close to your champion as you can. So this Renata is somebody from the Discord server. I don't know who it is. Maybe it's not here, but I promise I'm not making this up. Okay, this Renata is somebody from the Discord server. Doesn't matter if they're not here, but I actually haven't watched this one before, but it's the last one we're gonna watch. Laning here. So already we see that Renata is not doing much. Like, this is a 2v1. If you're Sivir, this is 2v1. Like, they are both poking Sivir, but she's not doing anything to reply. In fact, she has control of this bush and could have, like, poked with auto attacks or whatever, but she's not doing much. The triangle. Yes. Yes. Perfect. Funnily enough, I'm friends with a Yumi, right? She's like number 5 Yumi in the world, and she's like a grandmaster Yumi playing alone. And I asked her, like, what else do you think I should add to this session? And she was like, oh, you need to talk about triangles and squares. And I was like, I don't want to overcomplicate things. I think the lane thing, left and right, is easier and same result, right? But I think this Seaver did wrong, by the way. Because we gotta talk about ADC, even though this is not a member of the server, it's a Renata. But she started Q. You don't start with Q with Sirena, you start with W. And you see how she's kind of standing still between auto attacks. That's just mechanical issues. So now let's see what's level 2 first. Okay, so as we can see, the level 2 was utterly wasted. Renata could be here already before the level 2 happens, and when the level 2 happens, she could have queued and hooked the Nami, and then slow her on top of the hook. That's a free Q plus W auto reset of Severe. Like, if this is not a kill, at least it's both summoners, right? So what's the point of getting level 2 first if you're gonna do this? You're just standing behind, and when you get it, now you walk up. I promise you, I haven't watched this, but I promise they are gonna start walking up, noticing that they got level 2, and the enemies are gonna walk out, noticing that the allies have level 2. Okay, that Nami is inting out of her mind. Never mind. You're again relying on the enemy to be bad. This Nami, this Nami is walking in despite these two getting level 2. So this is probably very low elo. But this is really bad play by both. Renata should have walked up sooner. Nami should have walked out sooner. Okay. In fact, Misfortune realized. And the thing is, there's no way you can contest this. Look at how many minions they have to kill. So yeah, this is horribly played by Nami. I guess flash away. Flash. Okay, yeah, this is not very high. Is that, yeah. Look at how late she flashed. Should have flashed here. There. Waits until she gets ignited. Yeah. That's basically, I mentioned this in the last session. I mentioned how no, but the difference between this Renata and this Nami is so huge though. Like, the Renata is not playing that low elo, right? She should have walked up sooner, but everything else was fine. The Nami is playing like iron. But regardless, remember when I told you the difference between low and high elo is how much into the future you will think? Lower elo players only think about the present. High elo players think about the future. This is why the Challenger Chinese spike I showed you flashed in before getting level 2, expecting that he was gonna get it. He's thinking about the future. Whereas the gold Renata here and the gold Nami only react after they see they got level 2. So they are playing in the moment. So you gotta play with the future in mind. Same as the hybrid recall with Vayne. He's not thinking about the future of that wave. Okay. What's this often? Most out of few supports, and they don't know how to manage waves in our lanes. So the issue here is it's also the fault of Misfortune. So communication. If I was this Misfortune, I would have been hitting the wave constantly. Look at MF. He's not out attacking the goddamn wave. So as far as I'm concerned, Nami is bad, but Misfortune killed her. Misfortune's not out attacking the wave. She will never get level 2. And then what you do is you spam ping assistance ping. And then the Nami would know that she has to auto attack. I promise I play in gold and bronze a lot. Even bronze and gold supports, if you spam them assistance on the first wave and second wave, they will auto attack it, okay? So both MF and Nami play this horribly. They should be out attacking the wave. They're not getting level 2. So communication is so important. So we learned a lot of things in this session, guys. I didn't talk a lot about roaming because that's more support side, and that's more maybe for another time, because I wanted to focus heavily on the level 1 until 6 without the roaming part. And the main 3 takeaways, if you ask me, is gonna be position both the 4 segments and the lanes. So you're gonna have the 4 segments plus the lane in the middle. So it's like we have what? That's 8 segments, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 7, 8. So these plus the spacing in and out and the power spike levels, this is what's gonna win you the game in botlane, okay? If you start playing this, really nice cheat that you're gonna play. So question time. You have any more questions?
Guess that's a no.
What? Sorry? Did anyone say anything?
I guess no. I wanted to say hi, guys, because I saw that you are 10 people here, and I didn't want you to feel alone, you know?
To feel lonely?
Nah.
Wait, the triangle and parallel rule is important in solo queue. It's just or no, it's important always. It's important even in mid lane. Yeah, it's important in all 3 lanes. Yeah. In top lane is especially broken. Let's say that Amumu wants to gank this Kled. Like Amumu is coming here to gank the Kled. Jax should hack the bush wall so that Kled walks to the river. And then he gets close to Amumu, and this is a pincer from both sides. So the same applies. You make the enemy mirror you when the jungle is coming, and you make him go against the wall. Some people are still typing.